welcome to Cinema Therapy, the podcast for people who know nothing about life, but all about TV and film. I'm Karen.
I'm Nicole.
Hello.
Nicole.
We had a nice little scat intro.
Yeah.
I like that, like cafe vibe.
Yeah, that was interesting. I feel very smooth and just ready to hustle.
Easy Sunday kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Sunday.
It's like we're on NPR.
Kind of love. Yeah. Sorry. How are you, Nicole?
I'm good. I want to tell y'all to follow us on Cinema Therapy Show. Follow me at Nicole Sophia. And please rate and review us on iTunes and Google Play and everywhere you can rate and review us so people can know about us and we can know about what you like about the show. We appreciate it.
Or don't like, because I respond well to criticism.
I don't. I don't like any kind of criticism.
I just like, being seen. Or just let me know that you are here. You're listening. That you have a reaction.
You're not shouting into a void. You're a true
Yeah,
artist because
exactly.
you're like, I just want to inspire reaction. I want people to respond, and then I'll know I truly created art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want people to be happy when they experience whatever I have to experience. You're just going to be good. You're just like, it's great. It's amazing. I feel great. I want to smile. That's what I'm looking for.
How was your week?
It was, productive. I'm in the midst of a job search, people. And, I'm doing my best. I feel pretty proud of how I've been handling it. I have a experience to contrast it to because I had a period where I was looking for a job for some time. And I was very unhappy during that period. That really sucked. Now I feel like I have more control over the situation. So that's cool. Like, I feel like I'm going for things that are more exciting and not just, selling myself short. So that's cool. And I'm really trying to be intentional about enjoying the process of applying at jobs and not just waiting for that result. If they're asking for a writing sample, I'm really taking my time with it, enjoying it, and being like, you know what? I like writing. I would love a job where I can write more. So that's what I've been thinking about.
For those of you who don't know, Nicole moved here from Chicago 4-5 months ago now.
5 months ago.
Oh my gosh, almost half a year.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So I get it. It's hard.
It's warming up.
Yeah.
So I feel better about the weather. That is good. I don't like any kind of cold anywhere. I just hate winter. So I'm happy that it's getting better. And it's a period of transition.
I love it. I love it. I too am looking to transition.
Into what?
What I mean is, I realize I have all of these big dreams that I have for myself or what my life should be, and I need to make bigger moves for bigger dreams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just got to make those moves, big moves. That's just where I'm at. My behavior needs to change. And I'm sad about things, but you got to let stuff go. You got to change how you are in relationships. That's
Didn't
where I'm at.
you just release some poetry? And on what medium did you release it so people can find
Girl,
it?
I just released it on Instagram. That's where I'm at right now. I have poetry published in a few magazines.
Wow.
And chapter books. But I'm looking to self-publish. Stop it. Yeah, I'm looking to self-publish right now a chapter book and to have a reading eventually.
Well, what's the content?
Oh my gosh, let's not even talk about that right now.
No, I mean, I feel like it's essential for this Woman Power episode because, little spoiler, that's what we're talking about today. And I feel like you exhibit your power by putting your out there in the world and being vulnerable with it.
Yeah. My poetry is mostly just it feels a lot like word vomit of what I'm feeling from my relationships. I'm very much affected by all of my romantic relationships.
Okay.
And I feel like with men in particular, a lot of what I go through is not heard or seen or validated. And I feel like because I haven't been able to really express myself with these men, that's just how I feel. I have to write it out.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my exes read the poetry and really sent me this really nice message, and it was really nice. You know,
That's good. I'm glad
He,
he
like-
responded positively.
he responded positively, and he like validated my feelings, which is what I think. In a smaller scale, like that's one of the things that I write poetry for, like, you know, to just like be heard. So
That's good. Okay, let's talk about what we're doing for today's show. We watched Captain Marvel when it premiered on International Women's Day, or the day before International Women's Day, and we were blown away. So in honor of Women's History Month, we are celebrating women power. We are celebrating all the unique strengths that women bring to anything they endeavor. And for this very special, lovely episode, we have our awesome guest, Cassandra Cushman. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I loved hearing what you're both working on.
oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I asked Cassandra to be here today. One, we worked together. She was my.
I was like kind of your boss, I
Yeah,
guess.
I was telling Nicole on the way here. I was like, I'm like kind of triggered right now because we're running late, and it's like I was always late to work, and now here we are again.
Karen, you communicated
Karen's
with me.
late.
That's all that matters.
You're right. You're right. That takes a
That's
lot
so
of like
funny.
practice and learning.
I was your boss, I guess, the
Yeah.
whole time.
It was great though. You really pushed me to be my best self.
Wow.
And like we worked, we can't say where we worked, but you know, it is a space that promotes women empowerment, and so you know, you're just being surrounded by a lot of strong, powerful women, and while that is great, it is kind of intimidating sometimes
Yeah.
being a woman in that kind of environment. I
Where-
mean, that's how I felt.
where you have other strong women to
Yeah.
look to. I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like hyper aware of my womanhood
Yeah.
in spaces like that. How do you feel like working in a space like that?
You know, you do learn so much because you're seeing, I think in any space, this is, and this is gender non-specific, but I think you learn the way you want to be and you learn the way you don't want to be, you know, in behavior. And I think that what was really interesting about this place we worked at is it's very much a place where women who are very successful, like have really hit some sort of external career markers in
Yeah.
all fields were there. So, and we worked more in the like, you know, hospitality side. And that was actually my last, like, essentially service job. Like, I left that place to just be like, I am an artist and also doing what I do now. But, yeah, it's interesting because intimidation is hard, right? Because you're seeing how people are around you and you want to both emulate them, but you also, your own insecurities can rile up. And it's a really good check of like, whoa, this is my own. Can I cuss on this show?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, like, this is my own shit coming
Yeah.
up. This is not. So, it's kind of that interesting marker. There is also just a lot. The way women communicate, and this is a generalization, but the way women communicate when they're in a big group together or just even one-on-one without like, male identified people in that space is very different. So, and we don't get to do it that much.
Yeah.
So I think we're like, oh my God, this is amazing, but also has its own challenges. I mean,
Right.
nothing is perfect. It's not like we took men out of the equation.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a Wonder Woman, you know, kind of with the theme of Captain Marvel, like the Wonder Woman, like they're on this island. They still are going through,
Yeah.
Yeah.
some stuff. It's not like that solves anything. But yeah, it was a very, I would consider it a very much part of my evolution and a very important part of my like journey over the last few years to work in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say, like, even in like spaces of just women, there's still, you know, forms of oppression. And
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
intersectionality. You're
Yes.
gonna feel,
Oh
like,
my
different
gosh.
struggles, and
You
those
know.
are layered. There's
Yeah.
a lot of depth to
That was really definitely that was something I became aware of for myself working in a space was like, oh, right, let's also talk about intersectionality.
Yeah.
Let's also talk about just because we're all identify the same gender-wise here doesn't mean that we don't have hierarchies in place
Yeah,
Right.
and privilege in place. And and with like how you dress, how you present yourself,
Yeah.
what stuff you're carrying, how you speak when you're around, so it was it taught me a lot.
Yeah. Hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. It's exhausting. But you know what? I will say this, Cassandra. You really encouraged me because you came in and you did your thing there and like you made it like work for you and like you got out of it what you wanted and like you were just so pleasant to be around, but you decided to pursue this your own career and work for yourself.
Yeah.
What did you do? Tell
Well, it's
our
so
listeners.
interesting to hear you both talk. Both Nicole, you talking about like searching for jobs that are really like aligned for you and are very much like everything in you is saying is being a yes, and also kind of just seeing what comes in, right? Like you're putting it out there, but then you're seeing like what comes in. And then Karen, it's like taking that risk because the risk breeds the reward, truly. And that's kind of like what the message was for me at this time that I left this employer. So I've always been very spiritual. I've always been very mystical, woo-woo, we might say. I'd always considered myself a witch, but I hadn't really been I'd done my own practices in a way, but I hadn't been really structured. And I'd also really been doing a lot of like healing work where I would like read people's charts, like friends and family for like fun.
Yeah.
Or like be that person you come to and like give counsel. And this definitely ties in with my acting work. I've always been like, there's something I'm here to do with like what I have, like with what I've been given. It's to help people. It's to reflect them and help them heal. Like I've always known that since I was little, and the healer aspect. And so I was like, I'm gonna start being an astrologer, and I mean I was already, but like really use it to be my supplemental income between my acting work and all my creative work in that area in the entertainment world. And it was a crazy huge risk.
Yeah.
Because we live in New York,
Yeah.
and it's, you both know.
Right.
Also, by the way, I lived in Chicago, so we have to chat about that
Yes.
for several years. So, I just kind of was like, I'd gotten the message. I'm very intuitive. The message was like, you have to risk. You have to jump. You have to jump off the cliff because that's the only way you're going to really be propelled forward into this next chapter with what you want to do, those big things you were saying, Karen. So I just did it. And the first 6 months, I'm like scraping together. I'm like reading for people. I'm scraping together this and this and this, doing some odd jobs. But I haven't gone back to a service job.
It's amazing.
I had done many years in the service industry, bartending, waitressing, hostessing, all sorts of those jobs. And they're so important. And like, we need to talk like service people who do service jobs. This is like the backbone of our society.
For
And
sure.
they have to endure so much,
Yeah.
But, it was just a self-preservation thing for me as well. I like had to make that move for my own sort of boundaries. Like I'm very drained emotionally when so it was a lot of things, but it was scary as fuck. Like it really truly was.
Well, a mutual friend of ours, Lee Hubia, she told me to go to a reading of yours, and she just spoke so highly of the experience. She was like, girl, like, we know Cassandra in this capacity, but when she's doing these readings, it's like she's really in her element.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
I love hearing that.
Yeah, and so I think it's just telling that you made the right decision. Like you are pursuing what makes you alive. And I feel like more and more people need to live like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a quote that I read recently that was saying, don't look for what the world needs, look for what makes you come alive, because the world needs people who have come alive. I feel like that's exactly what your story is. I wonder, though, when you feel like you have this gift and you want to share it with people, did you have any struggle with like trying to figure out what the value of a certain service was? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, money is a big thing. Money is it's hard. I still I struggle with money. Money, essentially, as I've learned, is just an exchange of energy. Truly, like, even in our world now, we don't even really have like a system where it's backed up by anything. Like used to be, right? Like gold, there was gold sitting somewhere in like Texas, and that like was like the dollars backed up. It's just like we've all agreed. We're like, I'm going to pay you this and this is this. Just like back in the day, I would have been like, Karen, I want to take your chicken and I'm giving you this animal in exchange, you know?
Bartering,
trade. But yes, it's very weird. And it feeds exactly into also my acting work with how much I should be paid, the jobs that I'm willing to say yes to and no to. Yes, raising my rates. Like I like had the same rate for a year and then I raised it. Doing certain discounts for friends and family members. Like it's all a process. And you do have this moment where you're like, maybe I'm asking too much. Maybe people aren't going to come. And what I've learned is like, no, ask for what you know you're worth. The people who will not pay that, you don't want to work with them. Yeah. You don't want to work with them. You don't want them in your world. And it's the same with a job, with any kind of job. It's like ask for what you know you're worth. Even ask for more than that. Because like give yourself some wiggle room. And then if people aren't okay with seeing your worth, like I really just truly believe, and it's become clear to me, you don't need those people in your life. Those people are meant to fall away from you. You don't want them as your clients. You don't want them as your coworkers. You don't want them as your director. You don't want them as, you know, any of those things.
Oof, I love it.
So
we are starting the show with such
oh my gosh.
positive affirmations.
I'm like just listening.
Karen was like,
Yes, I feel like people just need to like rewind and play throughout their night, and then they're gonna wake up just like ready to, you know.
We're gonna play that segment
world.
every morning.
I mean, I need to listen. Like you say it, and you need to still remind yourself. Like
for
you know,
sure,
listen to it, and
it's an ongoing journey.
Ongoing.
You can't forget. Yeah, it's easy not to like if you don't have those patterns like repeating in your mind, you can fall back on those like harmful
Absolutely.
patterns. Yeah. That's so. I love it. I love this. Women
it's
energy.
A good vibe.
Yeah, good vibes.
Speaking of women energy, before we get into Shrill, you're working with Lee.
Yes. So same friend. Lee, you're getting a lot of airtime. Hi, Lee.
Hi, Lee.
Yes. So I'm developing a series with Lee. Like we're like
so
it's
exciting.
happening.
Wow.
We're like in some episodic labs. We've like already in a second round. We're like gonna pitch it. That also is something that came out of this time period since I left that job.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
We just started to meet together and like we're like, let's just be creative. Like maybe we'll write something, and it kind of evolved from last spring, literally almost a year ago. I left like at the end of March of 2018. So, and then it was like, wait, we have this idea and now we have 6 episodes and yeah, we're pitching it. And it's very much also in line with this. It's, without giving too much away, it's a focus on modern day mystics is how I would call it. But in a way you like haven't seen. It's definitely not like highly, like it's not the magic shows we've seen where it's like Harry Potter or Charmed and it's like supernatural theme. Like this is literally like what I do every day. It's like
my gosh.
Yeah, I think there's a big hole for it in our content, and also Lee and I both are really really interested in seeing this all from a very intersectional and very like literally like the world we live in perspective. It's not just like my experience, it's not just her experience. It's a range, and it kind of looks at the wellness and health community too, because it's all kind of fallen under that umbrella. But it's also like funny is what we hope, you know. So yeah, that's exciting, and I truly didn't think I would. I don't know. It was always like, write something for yourself. It's always this advice that people give, and I was like, until I'm called to actually write something, no, like I will. That will be the right time, and it kind of just happened while I was pursuing my other things and pursuing my own auditions and all of this astrology work. So it's exciting to see where it goes. We'll keep you updated.
Please do. I cannot wait. That's so exciting. I can't believe all this has happened in a year.
Yeah.
Again, going back to like big moves, like to really change your life. to be what you want it to be about.
You
That's
have to.
Beautiful.
I think you have to. And it's scary, and you know that there's going to be fear, but like that's just your brain telling you what you don't know. You know, it's like
Right.
the fear is like your brain's like, you haven't been here yet. You don't know what this is like.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Listeners, you can follow Cassandra on Instagram at the Freaky Witch, Freaky FREAKY. Because I don't know, just in case.
People are like, how do you spell freaky?
Yeah, just in case. And Cassandra Cushman, CASSANDRACUSHMAN.
Yeah.
Fun with
Woo-hoo!
spelling.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Let's talk
It's
about
so great.
shrill.
Love
Shrill.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Shrill.
You're
Did
the
I say
one
it
who
wrong?
recommended it. No, I'm just saying. I'm going to say it like that because
Shrill.
I wondered what they meant. Yeah, I wondered why they chose that name for its title.
I think it's based on a book, and she was always described as shrill because like that's how women are described. It's like her voice was shrill. It was like
Oh.
high pitched, and there was intensity. It's
Oh,
like,
really?
I think.
Oh.
I knew
can
it was
relate.
based on a book.
Yeah.
Because I know that the whole plot line where she is submitting a story about her being fat, the same thing happened to the actual author of the book, where she worked with, I think, Dan Savage.
Yeah.
Right.
And he had like that same attitude of like, I mean, you put yourself in the situation, don't equate your struggle with my being gay struggle. It's different. Like I
didn't know it was Dan Savage.
Yeah.
What a
Yes.
turn this has taken.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it's crazy.
That's
I
right.
remember listening to the story. I think it was on This American Life. They had a really
Oh,
good
my God.
3 stories, I think, about like plus sized women and men who feel like they're being persecuted, and like people because it feels like there's a problem that people can see. I said problem in quotations.
Yeah,
People
like you
feel
could fix this.
Yeah, like people feel entitled to like giving you the solutions to their problems. Like my husband's a big guy, and he feels like every time he's like around, not every time, but a lot of times when he's around some friends, they're like, "Oh, I'm really trying to help you. Are you not going to the gym? Remember, like eat your complex carbohydrates, whatever." He's like, now I feel like every time I see you, it's going to be about
My body.
and it's just like that's not what I was looking for. I just wanted to engage in friendship and not it be about something that I know this. Like I know what my body looks like, and if it's something I want to address, I'll address in my own time. I don't need you to make it aware for me. So I really like that this show is not about her changing her body.
Yeah.
I feel like in a lot of the movies and TV shows I grew up with, when there were curvier big women, it was about like they would have a shift and now their life was magically better, and it put that idea in my head of like, you'll be happier if you're skinnier. Yeah,
Absolutely.
So I love this show. It was
I
really
also love
lovely.
it. Yeah. I mean, it's also set in Portland, where I'm from, Portland, Oregon.
You
So
are?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was like, I binged it, and I was also like, oh my God, they're in Portland. Now, they shot in the summer, clearly, because Portland is not that sunny normally. It's like rainy. But yeah, it was really fun to see that. And I also really loved that. Well, I don't know if you're going to get into this. I just love like the showing of her sexuality. Like, guess what?
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
has a sex life.
Yes.
She has desires.
Exactly.
She wants to have sex a lot. And guess
Yes.
what? That has nothing to do with the size of your dress or your weight or your BMI or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
is the thing.
No, it was definitely inspiring to see that scene with her and Ryan on the couch. She's like we don't have to go
Yes.
upstairs. Like we're just gonna do it out here, out in the open.
Take off my dress.
Yes.
Take off this bra.
Yeah.
And just hold all these curves, honey. Like,
Yeah.
yes. He's like, just own it. And he's like, oh, you're gorgeous. And, like, I don't like the idea of, like, him confirming it for her. But I
Totally.
feel like she's also feeling it, right? Like,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
like, I feel like someone is appreciating this beauty that I know that I have. Like,
Yeah.
it was a good moment. And she looked lovely. It was
Yeah.
very...
It was definitely inspiring as for me because I am very self-conscious in bed with a partner. I'm in this stage in my life where I have put on a lot of weight from like years ago. And like there's a difference. I'm not saying I'm like a big girl, but I am technically overweight for my body, for my BMI and my height and all that.
Fuck the BMI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
doctors.
I don't agree with it at all.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Like people are. It's like you're obese if you're 5 pounds over. That's bullshit. No.
But honestly, sex is not as enjoyable for me at this point in my life because I'm constantly thinking about how I look, like to the other person.
Right.
So it's so inspiring to see.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about my favorite woman power moments. It was season 1, episode 2, and what's her name? Annie?
Yes.
She is assigned a piece where she has to review a buffet at a strip club. You know, people sometimes strip clubs have buffets.
Also, Portland has the most strip clubs per capita. This is a Portland, Oregon thing.
Really?
I thought
Yes.
it was Tampa. Okay, so
I mean, I think it
Portland.
might be up there. It's like,
so
like
surprising.
especially because Tampa. No offense, Karen, you're from Florida. I think you're from Florida too.
Yeah,
You would be
yeah.
like, oh yeah, there's strip clubs in Florida. In
For
Oregon,
sure.
they're like, what?
Yeah.
There's
Right,
like 18-year-old strip club. You can get in at 18, and they're juice bars. Like this is a thing.
what?
Like I went to a ton of strip clubs when I was like graduated high school.
I would have loved that. I was,
Juice bars.
They have juice. Like it's like I had a friend I danced with growing up, and then she became a stripper, and like we
Really?
went to her. She wasn't performing, but we went to her club, and it was an 18-year-old club, like 18N, and they don't serve alcohol. They're just juice. It's just juice, but
Oh
it
my
was full
gosh.
nudity, like
Oh my
full underwear off and
goodness.
everything.
Wow.
Yeah,
but they're enjoying the health.
That is so interesting.
like no alcohol, just get some juice. We are hippies.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just filling bodies.
So I was like, yes, that's accurate, Portland. She's going
Wow.
to the strip club to review the
Review
food.
the
That's like
food.
very on point.
And then she's inspired by these strippers because one of them is talking about how she has a big ass and big titties and how that enables her to tell men what to do. Annie is inspired by this. She's like, I need to be putting this message in my whole life. This is a message. So when Ryan, after it seemed like he was dumped in the first episode, he comes back and he's like, look, I feel bad. And he's really bad at trying to explain his feelings.
yeah,
he's
I
just
didn't
like,
love him.
Yeah, this character.
He's just
I'm with you, Karen.
he's
Right.
a garbage man. Like I'm just like I'm over him already. She sees her opportunity to kind of train him to be the guy that she wants him to be. So
Yeah.
she's like, look, I need you to take me out on a date. Like, let's do it tonight. So they go out on a date, and it seems like she's on this path for, like, you know, enabling her to ask for what she wants. And I love that.
But here's the thing.
the
like, when did it become, like, normal for men to have such low standards or like, you know what I mean? Like, when did it become a thing for them to not put in so much work to, like, court someone or to be with someone? Like,
Social
I think
media.
once we started, like, accepting it.
Yeah,
like,
social media, dating apps.
Social
I really
media.
think that peaked it. I think they don't care. They can just swipe and find someone else. Like that's some of their thinking. They're like, well, it's like all the fish in the sea, and I can see them and access them so easily now. I mean, they didn't talk about this guy. He's not on an app, but
Yeah.
like, I do think that's the mentality of some people now.
he's, like, completely clueless. Like, he thinks that sex is going to solve everything with her.
I feel like I dealt with so many of
Definitely.
these guys when I was in my late teens, early 20s. Like, predating the whole app situation, I think just, like, these guys are going to find women who don't
Yes.
know how to, like, ask for what they want. They're scared of
Yeah.
it. They're like, I appreciate this intimacy. I'm getting something. Like, I feel validated in some way. But they also feel empty, right? Like, this, I mean, I'm speaking from my experience. I felt empty,
Yeah.
you know, like, looking for some sort of, like, appreciation, satisfaction from, like, the wrong people. And these guys would, like, constantly show me that they weren't on my level. Like, they weren't looking for the things that I wanted. They were interested in just it was very a sex-centered activity
Yes.
situation. They weren't taking me out on dates and stuff like that. But I wasn't in a position where I felt like I had enough self-esteem to ask for those things.
Yeah, like we let them get away with the behavior in a way. I mean, I don't think it's on us, but like
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is, I'm also like reinforcing this is what I deserve because I'm like
Yeah.
coming back
Yeah.
or like just being okay with
Right.
having sex.
You're right.
It's really
Yeah.
hard. It's really hard. But I think that, I don't know if, I think this is in the next episode, but I really liked when she had that other encounter, which I don't want to spoil if you haven't seen it, with, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Her roommates.
Her roommate.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was after
I
she
screamed.
saw.
Yeah.
I was like screaming when they were, I was like,
I was
Yes!
very excited about it. I actually did write about this because another moment that I thought was a woman power moment is because she sees this curvy woman
Oh, yeah.
in red right after she, like, Ryan again, like, does something to piss
Showed
her
his
off.
ass.
Yes, like, he's a bad guy. And he texts her the next day with a lame excuse. And she's like, maybe I'll take the lame excuse.
Yeah.
And then she sees this woman in red just living her life. She doesn't have a partner on her arm, but she just seems like so self-fulfilled. She's going to the flower shop, just smelling the roses literally. And it's just like, cool, just living her life. And like there was this moment of confidence because she sees her when she's like, Annie's trying to cross the crosswalk and she keeps saying, excuse me, oh, excuse me, with the cars going. They're like, yo, decide if you're going to go or not. And she's just like, I'm waiting for my turn. And this girl's like, no, I'm going to, like, these cars are going to stop for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a level of self-esteem that, like, it seemed like the symbol of, like, you can be this way, Annie. You don't need any other validation. And then she comes home with her flowers, and it just seems like she's ready to open her eyes to this guy, her roommate's brother, who is way hotter than Ryan.
oh my God, yes.
And a way better guy, and obviously likes her. Like, it was just like,
Yeah.
you know, made mixtapes for her.
Yeah,
when he
and
was
that's,
younger.
yeah, let's talk about that. Like, why is this interaction so much more fulfilling, you think? Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, what is it about him? Like, how does he treat her differently than how Ryan treats her?
Well, he definitely wasn't, like, trying to get in her pants, like,
Right.
from the beginning. Like, they had a relationship that wasn't about sex. And he showed appreciation for her through gifts,
The
mixtapes,
mixtape,
whatever.
yeah.
He asks
Sweet.
about her. He actually cares
Yeah.
about like what she's doing, and I think that he also, it's just kind of like how he's treated. Because he seems to really treat his sister, and also his yeah, that was like reinforcement. It's like, yes. His sister and her very well. Like he's been brought up, and it's sort of been reinforced, and he has positive women in his life, which I think is another thing we need to talk about.
Yeah.
I think like if you grow up with like really empowered, healthy relationships with women, you will treat women that way.
Agreed.
Not necessarily. We still have our odd like sociopath in the mix,
Yeah.
but so he really like takes the time. He sees her for who she really is, and he loves her in her all of her complexity. Which, shocker, we are, and we like to see that, and we like to see that on screen, and we like to see, you know, women who are everything that we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really excited. I was like literally like screaming at the TV when that happened. I was like, yes!
Right.
I wanted that for her. I wanted like her to have someone that just be like, you're really hot, and I've like been into you for forever, and I think you're also really amazing and smart and whatever.
Yeah.
How exciting to hear that someone has been crushing on you for a
So
long time.
sweet.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was
Yeah.
sweet. It was sweet.
Because Ryan is not a bad guy. Like, I don't feel
mean-
like he's ill-intentioned. He's just completely clueless. You know what I mean? And he even says in an episode, like, you need to teach me, like, how to be your boyfriend.
I'm out of that.
And
I'm out.
yeah, and that's why I'm like, what?
Early 20s shit.
We
I'm
do
telling
not
you.
have to teach anyone.
Then
like,
you
how to
find
be
out
a
like
decent
this is a
boyfriend.
grown ass man who
Exactly.
had like so I think he's been enabled. Like you see
Yeah.
the mom
Right.
doing his laundry and
Gosh.
like
So many red flags. Yo, I can tell you from my like early relationships.
yes, it's red flag
Like
central.
the things that I should have seen were one, my first ex. Actually, no, both of them. Sorry, guys. You both
Yeah.
had mothers who were very much mothering them still. Like, let me do your laundry. Let me take care of you. Anytime there's a problem, I'm going to fix it for you. Like, that's not a woman's role in your life to just like take care of everything
No.
for you. No, like you gotta grow up and figure it out. And the other thing what you were saying, Cassandra, was like having women relationships in your
Yes.
life that
Yeah.
like where you see women not just as sexual objects. I felt like both exes did not have like positive apart from their mothers. Like they both had issues with their sisters and didn't have like girlfriends really. My husband now, like he has a lot of female friends. He has a good relationship with his sister. Like those are just things that I didn't know as a young girl that were really elemental in like figuring out a person and like how they relate to women.
Absolutely. And it's not like always that case, but I think we can say more often than not,
Yeah.
you are a product of your environment.
For sure.
And sometimes you can't help the environment you're in. A lot of people don't have access to that, and it takes a lot of like self exploration as they get older. Like they go to therapy and they get help. But I think the beautiful thing about her kind of journey in the short arc of the season, because I think it's only 6 episodes, right?
So
Very
short.
It's like quick, is that they show her realizing that age-old thing that like the best thing you can have is a relationship with yourself.
Agreed.
It's partners are frosting. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, good frosting if it's like a marriage, like it's
Yeah,
good.
It can be
of
good,
course.
but it shouldn't be the whole kahuna, the
Right.
cake.
Exactly.
The everything, the meaty parts. Anyway, so the best of life, I think Gloria Bell is a good example of that. Gloria Bell, filmed in 2017, came out, I think, 2018, 2019, and starring Julianne Moore. She is a
Yes.
free-spirited woman in her 50s seeking out love at LA dance clubs. I loved this film.
Yeah.
It
I know you
made
haven't
that
seen
I
it.
haven't seen it, but
Sandra.
Julianne Moore is like a legend.
Same. Yeah. I feel the same way
So
about
I will
her.
see it.
She's one of my favorite actresses.
Favorite.
It's fabulous. I won't ruin it for you. I'll just say that there's an awesome moment with Total Eclipse of the Heart. Yeah, not going to ruin it for you. But I do want to talk about a moment where, okay, so Gloria, she was divorced maybe 10 years ago. She is far enough from the divorce that she has like figured out a way to like live her life and find her own joy without like necessarily romantic love. So she is going to yoga. She has great relationship with her children. She has good relationships with her coworkers. I love seeing her with her female coworker and supporting her. It's a really nice thing to see because like the next thing that happens is she like meets this guy, and it's not like she was in a place where she needed somebody to like show something in her or anything like that. It was just like he happened to come into her life in this time. And she's thinking that he's a potential significant other. And then he eventually shows his ass a little bit. And then he confronts Gloria in her workplace trying to explain why he left her at her adult son's birthday party without notice. And then tries to shift the blame to Gloria by referring to a point during the party where she's sitting with her ex-husband, and they're looking through old photographs, just being like, oh, we were so in love. This is so funny, blah, blah. And apparently, like, he was looking, like, there was a point in the shot where you can see his face kind of in the corner, and you can see that he's kind of feeling, like, left out of the conversation. And she's just like, yo, grow some balls. Like, that's not how you deal with the situation. Like, she just jumps in her car and she leaves. And I love it because I feel like so many times when a man or a potential partner in these, like, romantic sort of comedy looking movies shows their emotions a little bit, like, the woman is ready to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, thank you for showing me that you're a vulnerable person and that you have feelings, and let me save you from these feelings. She's like, no, like, grow up. That was not how you needed to deal with it. And I loved it. I felt like it was such a beautiful moment for her to just be like, fuck you, and run away.
Yeah. What I loved about Gloria Bell was that it's very similar to this movie called An Unmarried Woman. I think you were there when I saw it.
Yes,
the
I
wing.
watched Unmarried. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like very similar, someone going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And like she's just like finding herself again at this age that she's in. And, you know, it's like, yeah, a woman could like be 50, 60, 40, whatever, and she will still have to like deal with like these fuckboys or like unhealthy relationships. But only now it's like her health is declining. She's losing her vision. It's really scary. It's terrifying. But Gloria is going to the yoga sessions, laugh sessions. She's going to the club dancing. It's really fun. Julianne Moore, you know, she not only is she like this amazing actress, but she was in Boogie Nights.
Oh, yeah.
And like this like sexy porn star. And in Gloria Bell, there's a lot of intimate sex scenes where she's topless and like you see her breasts. And it's just so nice to see, you know, like, she's embracing her age. And she's older, but she's still like vibrant, experiencing love, like lust, like experiencing lust. Like those things don't go away. You know what I mean?
They like say that. I mean, I remember my grandma was in like a kind of retirement community. Like they're having fun there. Like the highest rate of like STDs, STIs is in retirement communities.
What?
I've heard that
because they just don't give any fucks anymore. They're like, let's just have our kicks.
Wow.
So something to look forward to.
My mom did say, she's like, I want to go to where the party's at.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, Mom, do you want to like live with us? Like, I'm wondering if she wants to be like helping us take care of our kids or whatever. She's like, no. I want to go where people are and have a good time. I'm like, yes, go find your joy.
And I feel like you don't see a lot of sex scenes between older people in movies.
No, we don't. Like Nancy Myers, I feel like is like the big like romance in like the elderly population. Like she's the only one that's like putting forth movies. That,
I like can't even really think of a woman over
40-ish. Yeah. But even then, I feel like when it's older people, it's like a comical scene.
Right.
Like it's supposed to be like, oh, how cute. They're having fun.
Oh, the Glenn Close movie. There's, I mean,
Favorite?
I don't think she's, no.
I mean, The Wife.
We'll talk about The Favorite
The Wife.
forever. I love The Favorite. The Wife. She's not nude, but there's some intimate scenes, which are interesting.
Very inspiring to see.
Yeah, Julianne Moore is like fearless.
Oh my
as an actor.
She is.
I mean, I'm sure she has fears. I'm sure if we talked to her, she'd be like, I'm scared shitless. But like, she's just able to be so vulnerable on screen, and that's so refreshing, right? Like, I think she's the best. She's one of my. Actually, so many of these actresses were talking about. I love are my favorites in this episode. Like, I was like, okay.
That's great.
Yes.
I'm glad you are supportive.
Well, sorry.
No,
I just want to say it reminds me of the show Younger.
Oh, yeah.
Just the topic of ageism.
Yes.
Which I think I keep trying to tell you to watch it. I feel like you're not trying to watch it, Nicole, but I feel like you would really appreciate it.
Remind me what channel it's
Oh
on.
my goodness.
Hulu. I think you can watch it on Hulu now, yeah.
Okay.
It's
I'll
Sutton
watch
Foster.
Sutton Foster.
She's great.
Hilary Duff.
It's like quick, snappy, fresh kind of not Sex in the City, but it's flashy. Like it's easily digestible.
Okay.
Yes.
I can do it. I'll do it.
Pleasant. If I can watch This Is Us, you can watch Younger.
Yes.
I actually think yes, that's very true.
I'm like, true.
I still haven't watched This Is Us.
It's really good.
I know people love it.
Literally talking about it on the way here.
I was like, I relate to this storyline. All right, let's talk about Pose.
Oh,
Created by Ryan Murphy.
Ho!
Murphy, we love you.
Set in the 1980s, Pose is a dance musical that explores the juxtaposition of several segments of life and society in New York. The ball culture world, the rise of luxury Trump era, the rise of the luxury Trump era universe, and the downtown social and literary scene. I love this TV show.
So what makes you think of Pose when you hear women empowerment?
Because Blanca is like one of the greatest women characters ever. She's just like just seeping with love. She's the greatest mother ever. She's such a wonderful mother. It's like the mother that all these people deserved, and if they had them, they wouldn't have had any like economic security, shelter insecurity that they had to experience. It's just like so. I'm so happy about the kismet of them meeting and being able to save each other. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, this is a show about survival. Like, oh my gosh, stakes are high.
But joy in survival.
Yeah.
Joy
in
in
survival.
life.
Yeah,
because it's not like they're in a permanent state of suffering.
Right.
And I feel like I was trying to like throw away these expectations a lot of times when they would enter into sexual situations. I'd be worried for them because there is this like history of like people being hurt because they're discovered as being transgender, and I would or people learn being gay, and then like in the 1980s and worrying about them their status and whether they're going to be safe. Like there was just so many concerns in my head throughout, but they managed to have all these like beautiful intimate moments where people are just like able to express their joy, and it's not about like just seeing people suffer and be in misery. Like there was this concern that would happen because I feel like it's a lot of what like the media would portray trans life as, or like sex workers. Kind of like
tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I loved Angel's character.
Yes, Angel's great.
Okay. Who is that actor? Do you know her name?
India Moore.
Yes, she's beautiful. She's truly one of the most beautiful women, I think. I just love that you included this because it's just a reminder for all of us, like trans women are women. So like, hey, let's and this show is so, I think it's really groundbreaking because it also shows this community that's really, like you said, Karen, survived, which is the LGBTQ community in New York. This like, at that time, subculture that they created to find joy. Like, you know, like this ballroom, and they'd have their, you know, just the joy and the creating the looks and the community coming together.
Yeah, community, especially.
It's really powerful.
It is.
It's a really, really good show. I'm really glad that it's continuing. And Billy Porter's doesn't identify as a woman, but talk about a icon too.
Right.
Yes. I love his voice. I love how he says everything. It's amazing.
And did you see his Oscar look? I mean,
my
like
gosh.
gender bending norms. I mean,
that's
incredible.
I think what inspired me to watch Pose, because I'd been dragging my feet, and then I saw him on the red carpet and was like, "Who's this dude?" Yo, I had to see it. I was done.
I also love Evan Peters. These are two men that I always talk to our friend Lee. I'm always like, Evan Peters is the most underrated actor of our generation. So I feel that way about you, Evan.
He's going to get there.
If you listen.
I love Evan Peters. That storyline was like, I didn't finish the last episode, so I don't know. Maybe he makes a comeback. Maybe he like has a change of heart. But that storyline with him and Angel kind of, I was really invested in it.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, we're introduced to Angel in the beginning. Like, someone in the group is like, Angel, you got to stop falling in love with white boys. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel you. Yeah. Like, I feel that. Like, a woman of color, but now also like a transsexual woman of color, like falling in love with these white men who will only like give her the time of day for like one night only. Like, you know, it's not the kind of person that you bring home to.
Yeah, in private.
Yeah. Everything is so secretive and not the person that you marry. And it's tragic to see.
Yeah, because you see, she's a woman who's really feeling so much. Like, this is not a person who just like saw that there was an opportunity to get some economic security. Like, no, she's falling for him.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's really struggling with like her pride and like her wanting to feel all of this love. Like, she doesn't want him to make her look like a fool, and she's really like asserting herself, and she's like, these are the things I need for myself to be in my life, for you to be in my life. And she thinks that she's able to like discount certain things, like, oh, I know what I'm able to survive on, like it's fine if you're married or whatever. And eventually she realizes like that's not going to be enough for her, that she really wants to be treated like an entire like person, and not just like
it's like Shrill. I mean, it's the same. It's through very different lenses and different bodies and different experiences, but it's the same thing. Like, being seen as a fully formed individual.
Yes.
Like, what's your worth?
Right.
Yeah.
And having so many different needs and not just
Yes.
addressing one need, understanding that a
Exactly.
person is multidimensional and you can't just like ignore a whole segment of their life. And when you do that, it's going to come bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to work for you.
And they both, interestingly, Shrill and Pose, you know, there's a sense of like, oh, well, I'll be with you, but only in private.
Yeah.
Ah,
Only in the
Yeah.
bedroom. You know, these these bodies that are very much like definitely seen through the lens of like a white cisgender male perspective.
Right.
You know, like great, like leave through the back door as he tells her on Shrill, and then like in Pose, it's like Evan
Don't come to
Peters,
Trump Tower.
right? Like
Yeah.
don't
Like,
come, just I got you your
Just gonna
your,
come to
your apartment.
Yeah.
And she waits for him. That scene where she
I
waits for him.
know.
Oh
She gets all
God.
dressed up.
Making the cookie.
Yeah, she was excited. Yeah, she was like trying to like feel like, you know, like I have a boyfriend.
Yeah, he's
you know?
coming home
not
to
just
me.
like a booty call or like a
Right.
sugar daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the same thing happens with the other mother.
With event.
Oh, like the one that they just call
Abundance.
Mother.
House of Abundance.
Yeah, House
Yeah.
of Abundance. Oh God, she's
Yeah.
incredible. Too.
Like,
Electra.
gorgeous
Abundance.
woman.
She gets like her gender
She had-
reassignment,
yeah.
right?
So she has her surgery, and so like her sugar daddy for like 15 years, 20 years, who even knows like how
For a
long?
long time.
Yeah, like it's like nah, like I'm done with you.
That's
Yeah.
not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And
Oof,
she's like,
throws her
accept
out on the
me for
street.
who I am.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I need to be. And then he's asserting, like, what his sexual needs are. And he's like, no, actually, like, I need you to be this person and not the person that you had in mind.
Actually,
Like,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah, like
yeah.
he was like in love with like this like fantasy of like
Yes.
how exotic she was to him, and you know
I
she
can get
wanted,
that. Like, I
Yeah.
can get a whole woman anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
I needed that part of you to stay. Like,
Very fetishizing
exactly
her
when
body parts.
when really, you know, women want to feel love too. Like it's not just about like being exotified. I don't know.
I really don't know how to make that into a word. Yeah.
Exotified is a word.
I
is
believe
it not
you.
a word?
Okay.
We need a facts checker on this show. Okay?
I know.
Actually, that'd be fun. Not that I'm volunteering, but like exotified. I mean, I believe you. Somebody who's
Exotified?
been exotic,
You know, I'm gonna take the time. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Oh,
exotified. But I know that they're making a second season of this, so
Thank God. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite shows ever now, honestly.
oh, it's so good.
It just gave me so
Oh my
much
God,
life.
when they sing, did
Yes!
you watch them sing?
It was home.
Home,
When they sang
MJ
Yeah.
Rodriguez, who
Yeah.
was in Rent before
That
she
makes sense.
Really?
That makes sense.
She was Angel in Rent when she was still male presenting.
Wow.
And yes,
Wow.
I
Very
believe
interesting.
Angel, and then of course Billy Porter. We know,
Of course, yeah.
Oh my God, that scene.
That was a beautiful scene.
Yes,
I
Yes.
love that. Oh my God. Her voice is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love her voice.
yeah, she's
Oh,
like musical theater
yes. That
cred.
makes
She's
so
got the
much
musical theater
sense.
cred.
I
Yeah.
knew they were gonna sing "Home" too. For some reason,
She
I
did.
Knew it
She
was
was
gonna
like,
be "Home."
It's going to be home. I knew it.
I knew it.
I mean, just like such a good song, though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We're all looking for home.
I feel like Pose reminded me that we should all take time to watch "Paris is Burning."
Never watched it.
It's an amazing documentary on like the whole ball scene.
Oh, amazing!
And, yeah, it's on Netflix. It's also a female director. Yeah.
I will check
I will
that
watch
out.
it.
That is a wreck.
Yes. Let's talk about the movie that brought us all here today, Captain Marvel. I was blown away by this film, actually. Directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. They also wrote it. The summary is Carol Danvers becomes one of the universe's most powerful heroes when Earth is caught in the middle of a galactic war between two alien races. Karen, what did you think of this movie?
Well, I fell asleep
Karen?
the first time. Now I'm gonna be real,
I
but
love
you
you.
know what? It was.
Oh my God, it was
It
hilarious.
happens. It
At
happens.
one point, she fell asleep, but I remember like turning over to her, and it was like after they had done at least one of the it was like the first
Like a big
Marvel
battle scene.
No. It was like after the credits. It was like through the credits, and like how they'll have like some like visual stimulation, and then it's like the first reveal of like
Yes.
the after credits thing, and then they'll have the second
Oh,
one.
at the end.
Yes. So she woke up right after like the first like, oh, what's the next thing happening in Marvel, and then not before like I think that's when I woke her up. I was like, Karen, you're asleep, and she was like so shocked. It was so amazing. She's like, huh?
Listen, the movie like went through me. Like it literally went through me.
No, you just like internalized it. It's like
Too powerful. I'm exhausted
I mean,
by
it's
all this woman power.
intuition. Let's go.
We
It's
both know why I fell asleep, Nicole, but I'm not gonna say why.
I've slept through some like high action movies. I slept through the like last Indiana Jones, which we can't even count.
What?
I fell asleep and I woke up and they were in the room with all the aliens. Shia LaBeouf.
Crystal Skull.
Like, is this the right movie?
Is that the last Indiana Jones
with
Crystal
Shia
Skull?
LaBeouf?
It was
Yeah.
so bad.
So bad. I slept through that. I fell asleep in King Kong. So
Oh.
yeah.
But you know what? I saw Captain Marvel a second time and I loved it. It was
Karen.
great. Yeah,
Went back.
Karen.
She went back to support
I did.
Yes.
female filmmakers.
I did, and I do want to talk about supporting actually because this movie has gotten so much negative attention, saying that it's trying to push like this male agenda, but I'm like,
Feminist agenda.
excuse me,
I was
feminist
like-
agenda, yeah. But
Like-
first of all, what movies do not push an agenda? Like, what kind of movie doesn't do that? Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, you have to have a point of view, and I feel like we've been getting a very male-centric agenda
Exactly.
our entire lives from
And-
so many
Yeah.
mediums.
For hundreds
second
of
of all,
years.
like, what is so wrong with like a female-driven agenda? Like, what is so like scary?
Do you think
about
that it's different than what the response was to Wonder Woman?
Yeah,
And I wonder
think
if that's
so.
'cause
definitely
Gal Gadot in that movie, although I loved it. It's still, she's very sexualized in that movie.
exactly, and
Wonder
I
Woman
think
is a
that's-
very sexual character.
Yeah.
And not that Carol Danvers isn't, but like that's not what she's leading with.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Like the outfit, like you're putting sex forward,
Yes.
right? And like that's, it's fine.
And the
but it's just,
romantic
like, part-
storyline with Chris Pine.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I really liked the theme in Captain Marvel about not necessarily like discounting your intuition, because one of the her trainer at this program, like she's like part of some like legion. I don't even know what to call
Yeah,
what
it's
she
like
was
some-
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some like spy attack mission. It was like a space SWAT team sort of. And her trainer is Jude Law, Jan Rugg, and he repeatedly encourages her to ignore her intuition and listen to her logic. And I feel like it's so important because like I think people are constantly told like if you look at the facts, like it's going to tell you. And there's some things that can't be read quantitatively. There's some things that you just have to appreciate that you might not have the data to support it yet, but there's something in your mind that's telling you something. And it doesn't necessarily, mean something that you have to act on, but they're all different factors that people should be listening to, and it shouldn't be discounted. And I think the reason why it is discounted is because a lot of times I feel like it's stronger in women, like that feeling of like, I know what's right or wrong. I know what I should be doing. And then, because that's like a strong thing that you see in women a lot, like they act like it's not a purposeful tool.
Yeah, like it's not quantifiable.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the data, but this is like all this is so in line with like what I do when I read people's charts.
Yeah.
Your intuition, everyone has it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has said it. Every person in the world has said, I just had a feeling. Or like my gut was telling me. That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like some of the ways it works. But exactly, she realizes it's a combination of the two. Like her brain is like, the brain chemistry is like her fear and her logic too,
Yeah.
but also her fear. Like our brains want to keep us safe. Like this is actually, you can study this. This is like what they study in psychotherapy. Like the brain is sort of like protect her at all costs, survival at all costs. And oftentimes that's like, I don't want to take that risk because it's unknown, or this happened to me before, so there's fear. But then there's like this thing that we all have inside of us that's like other thing, and it's that other voice. It's your intuition. And if you start to quiet the brain, you can hear it, and it's different. It has a different quality. It has a different feeling, and it's really hard to get out of the brain's way, by the way. Like this is like a muscle, which is what I loved about the film too. It's like she's kind of like trying to figure that out, that she has this innate gift, but like she also has all this conditioning and all this like she's like muscled up, you know. But we all have it. And also I stan Brie Larson. Like I love Brie Larson. I think she's such an incredible actress. Again, like so vulnerable and so present. She's really present, which is which I really appreciated even in a really high action commercial movie. Like I did not feel like she was compromising what she does so well, which is just like she's just there. She's like receiving the other thing and she's just present. I mean, I just think she's like, I remember watching Room and thinking that she was just like another level because she was so human, you know?
Right.
Anyway, the intuition thing is so real. I think we have the brain chemistry and the fear, and then we have the other part of us that's like, what if you just like trust me and listen to this thing? And like, what am I saying to you? What is like, it could be your heart, it could be your soul, it could be your woo-woo feeling, whatever. But something else is, like, working with you. And that's what this character comes to find she has to do. That has to be a part of what she does, too. Like, she can't just be the one going through all the motions and doing all the training and doing all the...
Following all the rules.
Following all the rules, yeah.
Well, I also feel like Jude Law's character knew that her intuition or following her intuition would lead to like his demise.
Yes,
like
of
he
course.
was he was
manipulative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
for sure.
like intimidated by it and knew how powerful it was like from the get-go.
Because it is.
Right.
Yes.
You're
People
right.
don't want you to have that thing.
Yeah.
People want to, that's why people are scared of witches. Like, because
Right.
we're just harnessing what we know to be true. And hello, how many times has people been like, we got to shut this down?
Exactly. It's completely manipulative to like use something against you, but knowing that it's actually very powerful and strong and
Trying to suppress it.
Yeah, I love the moments in the film where you see her like battling with that like outside conditioning, and you see like there's just this full potential that could be released, and I found it extremely inspiring. I felt like I just want to like break free. It's just like very visually stimulating to see that.
Yeah.
Her intuition is one of her superpowers, and that's actually everybody's superpower.
Yeah.
Human superpowers.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But they are. It's your superpower. You have intuition, you know, and that's one of your superpowers as a human.
Yeah, that's our magic. I
It's
love
our magic. It is.
Oh, what a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Karen, you want to lead us into our next?
Oh, our next one is one of my favorite shows, one of Nicole's favorite shows. It is Mad Men.
Yes, Mad
Created
Men.
by Matthew Weiner. Mad Men takes place in 1960s New York. Alpha male Don Draper, played by John Hamm. I'm just gushing, talking about this.
You love some John Hamm?
I do. Well, I love Don Draper.
Oh, okay.
I love that
Okay.
character. I mean, he's completely fucked, but I just love
a
that
lot.
character.
Yeah, he's a bad person,
He's-
but it's an interesting
fascinating.
journey.
Yeah, I love the anti-hero. Struggles to stay on top of the high heat in the high-pressure world of Madison Avenue advertising firms. Are you the one? Do you write these summaries?
Oh no, I found the summary.
Oh,
I'm
like
like,
their actual
whoa.
log lines, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could have written it, but tried to invest
just-
time into
no,
the
I think
notes.
it's very efficient. I love it. Mad Men, it's a show full of strong, ambitious, determined, successful white men, right? But I love that we are talking about it for our Women Power episode.
Yes, because this show, like low key, high key, is very feminist. There's like, Matthew Weiner. I think he read The Feminine Mystique before writing Mad Men, so it was it was in his brain when he was thinking about it. And I think the women characters on the show are
Yeah, they're
really
really
interesting, and the way that they all find their ways to best work in a world that is so male-centric. They all have their own strategies of like figuring out the best way to manage this kind of world, and it's so interesting to see it play out.
Again, it's like it's like the quiet heroes. Like they just go through so much, like the women that these men marry, their daughters, the women, like their secretaries. So all these women holding these men up, allowing them to be on the pedestal that they are on. You know what I mean? But
I'm sorry. That just reminded me of one of my favorite quotes from this show. I don't remember this actor's name, but she was in Girls, and she talks about how she's a lesbian character on the show, and she says that women a lot of times are the pot that holds the soup, and she's like, why can't women be why can't women be the soup? Why do we have to be the ones like holding them and keeping them warm and stirring and like making sure that they are the ones that are like able to like find their way? And I feel like that's the role that like very much is being played by a lot of the women in the show, and then is still like the influence, I feel it, of like, I just gotta make my man ready to like go out in the day and be winners for us, and it's less about me going and finding my way to be successful.
Yeah. A lot of the roles that these women take on are like just like the uncelebrated hero. Like, I love Betty Draper, played by January Jones.
Yes.
When I first watched the show, I kind of felt like she was useless and just miserable, and I didn't really care for her. But like as I get older and rewatching the series, I really appreciate like her journey and her arc.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just a lot to deal with these men.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like, I'm surprised you haven't killed yourself by now.
And the society was also like so, I mean, we have so far to go today, but like there just were systems in place that like women really it was very hard for women to live on their own, like even to get an apartment on your own as a woman, or like like stuff like that they're having to deal, like they have to stay. It's like their only way to survive again is like to stay in this sort of system that's created, and how can they like navigate that? Of course, I'm a Peggy fan. Avi,
yes, love.
I mean, Elizabeth Moss is yes, like I would say if there's one actor I aspire to have a career like, it's Elizabeth Moss, because like bold, authentic choices. I don't know if either of you have seen Top of the Lake.
No.
It's like one of my favorite series. It's very dark. Yeah, there's 2 seasons. It's by Jane Campion, who did the Piano with Harvey Keitel and Holly Hunter. She's like a feminist
Is that
New Zealand filmmaker, I think. She might be Australian.
Is that on Netflix?
I think it's on Hulu.
Oh,
Top
Hulu.
of the Lake.
Okay.
But Peggy's just, I mean, the arc of seeing her literally find her footing, finding her voice, instead of being the person sitting behind giving the ideas, being the one being like, these are my ideas. This is my, like, my ideas have, circling back to the beginning of our convo, have value and worth, and like, I don't have to sit behind some, she navigates that. It's a whole journey. But because she has so much value in the things she's even coming up with and creating, and the stuff that she's doing, and I think seeing the journey of that and how she kind of navigates through the world as well is super interesting. And of course, her relationship with Don I just find super fascinating.
Oh yeah.
I love
any episode that centers them. The suitcase episode is so
great.
I think because she seems to not necessarily operate from this like extreme anxieties. She's just like, I'm learning. Like, I don't know this world at all. Teach me how to go through it. Like, she's so nice to Joan in the beginning. He's like, thank you, Joan. Thank you so much for teaching me how to navigate this world. And once she's seen as a potential copywriter, she's like, oh, then I can do what copywriters do, right?
Yes.
Like, she doesn't see herself as like, oh, I'm a woman who needs to like figure out how a woman copywriter works in this industry. She's like, no, I'm going to do it like you guys do it, right? Like, I see how you guys operate. I'm going to be like you. She like has this boldness and this confidence that she continues to not be like put in the background when they try to like, oh, silly girl, like go back and play with your toys. It's like, no, you gotta just like get to work. I love her development. She's such an integral character on the show. Did you want to talk about your favorite episode?
Okay, real quick.
Yes, real quick.
Okay, so we all know that I love Betty Draper. Betty Francis.
I didn't know you loved Betty so much, but I love that.
I really do. And you know what I think it is? I think it's because, like, throughout the entire series, especially in the beginning, like, she is responding to these feelings of, she's responding to some kind of trauma or, like, oppression, and people around her have just made her feel like she's, like, made her feel as if she was crazy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I feel like that's such a thing that...
Yes,
Right.
gaslighting.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
Lord.
women face to this day, especially. Yeah, and so it was really interesting for her to like kind of figure. She had to like figure it out on her own.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She's like, all right, I'm in love with Don, but he is like not good for me. Like I will probably end up killing myself if I stay with this man because he is completely toxic for her. He did love her, I feel, but he just like did not know how to love her in the way that, in a healthy way that
Because
she
he doesn't
deserved.
know how to like acknowledge someone's personhood. Like
Yeah.
he wants to take parts of people. He's like,
Yeah.
you're good for this like
Collector of people, of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
like you're good for my 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. time right after work, and then that's the only world I want to see you exist. Whenever it's like I have needs that need to be addressed too, then it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she reacted. She divorced. She remarried a man that she knew would be healthy for her, that like loved her in the way that she wanted to be loved. And it's just, she gained a lot of weight too from stress and depression, and she lost that weight. It's just, I just love her journey. One of my favorite episodes is, I'm going to call it the Betty episode, but it's really called Shoot. It was directed by Paul Feig, who also directed Bridesmaids and the 2016 Ghostbusters. I'm having a coughing attack. But Betty, we see a little bit of Betty's backstory. She grew up in a home with a very strict, harsh, manipulative mother, kind of emotionally and verbally abusive. Can you take it away, Nicole? I'm having a coughing.
Oh, it's okay. So she grew up in this household where the mother taught her to be someone to be viewed. There's a line in the show where she's like, "You're a masterpiece. Don't let anyone see the brushstrokes." She was something that needed to have a perfect presentation. She wasn't allowed to eat too many hot dogs. She was a girl who had a lot of appetite apparently as a kid, and her mom would really try to suppress it, just like wanting her to have everything she needed to be a desired woman. Yeah, it was interesting to get that background from her and her wanting to feel that objectification again because she used to be a model, and finding some agency in that and feeling like, okay, I'm going to be able to be paid because I have this beautiful face, beautiful body. I should be able to like figure out my own life and make my own choices. And she learns that it's a much more complex world than she expected. Karen, you want to keep going with it?
I'm back.
Yeah.
Basically, so she gets very excited about this new opportunity. Like she can go back to modeling, and she's like reminiscing on the times where before she met Don, where she was living in New York as an aspiring model, sharing this New York apartment with how many roommates, and like just thinking about how exciting of a time that was for her. She comes back, realizes, wow, a lot of time has gone by. The women are younger. Like I don't even fit in. Like I'm like completely overdressed.
Mm-hmm. Going to casting calls.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in a ball gown pretty
Right.
much, and she basically does not she does not book the gig, and she comes to this realization like, you know what, I think it's like a defense mechanism for her where she's like, I don't want to go back to modeling. I would rather I hate being in Manhattan all alone, and I hate the thought of you coming home to like a
Cold
house.
sandwiches.
Yeah,
or
like,
something.
no
I've flung
dinner.
together. Yeah.
And the episode ends with her like getting breakfast for the kids, kissing her husband goodbye as he goes off to work, and she's in her pink nightgown, and she just takes the shotgun from the garage and she just starts shooting her neighbor's pigeons. And it's so, for me, it's like, it reminds me of like Valley of the Dolls and like like a woman rebelling, like a beautiful woman just rebelling.
Pushed to the edge.
Yeah, pushed to the edge.
Yeah.
Exactly. And kind of like just accepting how fucked her situation is.
She has a dark side.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like being kept in a cage. It's that kind of
Exactly.
situation, and you're some deep stuff there.
Yeah.
I feel like she's a Scorpio. What do you think, Cassandra?
Ooh, that's
She
a good
definitely,
exercise.
I would say, has. I feel like there's some Scorpio and maybe some Virgo because there's a little bit of like a perfectionist spin.
Definitely.
Maybe she's like a Virgo rising, so she appears very
yes.
like.
Yeah.
Also Venus and Virgo, which is very like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Venus and Virgo. It's like
Same.
Yeah, I knew that. It's like there's a way of wanting to be perceived, to manage, but then like inside maybe there's definitely some water energy that's like swirling. I also feel like Peggy is maybe a Capricorn.
I see that for sure.
Yeah, there's some, and she can kind of like detach in a way sometimes, but she's also very sensitive. But there's a little.
Yeah, you're on it with that.
Yeah, I
That's
try. Sometimes I
definitely-
try to figure it out. I mean, I'm like, okay, what's the whole chart? But like, I like to know like what
Yeah, yeah,
characters
yeah.
I play or create. If it's not in the script, I'm like, what's their birthday?
Yeah.
But if it's not in the script, I'll like, because for me, it's a way in of like how their energy kind of operates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Don Draper's a Scorpio. I know we have to go. I just want to say, do we think he's a Scorpio? I just want to know.
I mean, the sort of like he's definitely a narcissist. So there's definitely some like control. I mean, Scorpio has a thing with control
He's
for
Dom
sure.
Draper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw that Dom
Dom.
Draper.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, I also think there could be some fire energy in there of like an Aries or a Leo man.
Yeah, I feel some Leo energy for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I have to have all of the attention.
Yes.
He doesn't have any space for anybody
Yes.
else to have dreams or be on the stage. He's like,
Yes.
no, that's where and he loves being loved. He loves
Yes,
lots
the
of
attention.
adoration.
Venus
Yeah.
and Leo probably. Maybe Mercury and Scorpio, like how he communicates and how he kind of like.
He has like a sultry, dark way
Yeah.
of talking about
I don't
things.
like. Can't remember what John Hamm is. I think John Hamm might be a Pisces,
Interesting.
which is he's definitely like a Pisces or maybe he's like around this time of year.
all right, let's
Okay.
circle it up. We did a
Circle it
great
up.
talk today. I'm so happy to have you, Cassandra.
I'm so
Yes.
Thank you so
thrilled. It was
much.
really fun.
Yeah.
I feel so empowered.
energized,
Yeah.
invigorated.
Have the
Yes, I hope
female
our
goddess
listeners feel that
energy.
too. It
Yeah.
was so much fun to talk about women power, and I love these women. These are
Yes.
get you some powerful women in your life, and you'll feel it. You'll feel that women power.
Speaking of powerful women, please, thank you to Jade Zaidbrick, our producer and
Thank you,
Vice
Jade.
President Radio. Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you so much, Cassandra.
Thank you, Karen.
Thanks,
Oh,
Karen.
thank you so much. I'm so happy. Okay.
All right.
Have a great Sunday, everyone.
Find us, follow us, rate us. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Bye. You know what? I want to say thank you to our. Actually, you know what? I want to say thank you to our listeners from our first podcast.